Hi, everybody. My name is Jenny Schneider, and I'm the high school counselor. I think we are going to get started. I know there was a bit of a snafu with the passcode, so if there are others that you know who planned on attending the meeting, please feel free to share that with them. The meeting is being recorded, so we will be able to share a live recording of this as well. All right. So as I said, we're going to get started, and my name is Jenny Schneider, and I'm the high school counselor. Thank you all for coming to our meeting tonight. I always feel like there is a lot of our Zoom meeting tonight, I should say, first time for a Zoom meeting, but I guess we've all done lots of these at this point, right? So I always feel like there's a lot of excitement from students when they get to this point of their education where they're starting to plan for high school, and hopefully as parents you're feeling some of that excitement as well. I know personally I always feel like the time just seems to fly, and certainly as your child, especially if it's your oldest child, is entering high school, you might be feeling that same way. So tonight I will be sharing with you information about high school and how we structure that here in Viroqua. Hopefully your child brought their packet of information home and shared that with you. That is the material that I'll be covering tonight. So if you did not receive a packet, or if your child didn't bring it home, please feel free to let me know and I will connect you with one. If your child is a virtual student and didn't stop by yet, theirs is located in the middle school office. So I'm going to do my best to keep this to 30 minutes or less tonight. I know some of you have other commitments that you're planning on doing, taking care of tonight. So I'd like to get things started. Really is my goal with meeting tonight to make this transition as smooth as possible for your child as they come into high school. So I am going to get started and share my screen here. All right. So just get things squared away here. Hopefully, can somebody give me a thumbs up that you can see? All right, great, thank you. So like I said, I'll do my best to keep this to about 30 minutes tonight. Really, my goal with talking tonight and meeting with the parents, in addition to sharing information with the students, is to help make this transition as smooth as possible. And I know, especially if this is the first time that you've learned information about how our high school operates, it does tend to be a lot of information. So please feel free to let me know if you have a question, try to get the questions answered as we move along here tonight. A couple things that I do want to mention is, it seems like when students start to get in upper middle school or high school, one of the questions that they frequently will hear is, what do you want to do when you grow up, or what do you want to be? And we always really encourage students to take the opportunities that they have available to them in high school to really start exploring what their interests are, what their skills are, and help that shape where they want to go after high school. So our school does operate on a modified block schedule, and you can see the schedule on your screen there. We have three 80+ minute blocks and then two 45-minute classes. Our lunch in the middle of the day is an open campus, which allows students to go home or run an errand, whatever that might be, and come back in the afternoon for their last two classes of the day. This is the schedule we're hoping to return to next year, or possibly sooner, I'm not sure. But we do have the three 84-minute classes or 80-minute classes that allow students to earn 1 credit in those 84 minutes in one semester. And then the two 3A and 3B classes that are 45 minutes in length allows students to earn 1 credit in the year-long class. Generally, at the end of the day, we have a 35-minute resource period that allows students to go to meetings if they're involved in a club, allows them to get extra help from teachers, or to just get started on their homework. I mentioned earlier, one of the things that you'll hear people refer to, especially, we obviously call the 80-minute classes our block classes, and then the 3A and 3B 45-minute classes we do refer to as skinnies. So if I use those terms tonight, that's what I'm referring to. You can see on your screen the graduation requirements in order to earn a diploma. That includes the 4 English credits, 3 social studies credits, including US history and world history, 3 math credits, including introduction to probability and statistics as a required class the student's sophomore year, sophomore year, 3 science credits, 1.5 FIAD credits, a half a credit of health, and then 11 credits, which does include a half credit of personal finance. So if you have that packet in front of you, you might want to pull out that light green sheet, the course request form, and you can see that there are the required courses that are already typed in, and then 3 blank lines where the student will get to choose their electives. One of the biggest decisions that you as the parents and the student have this year in doing some planning for high school is to try to make sure that the math class is the appropriate placement, because that really can be a key fact in determining the child's success in high school. And then you can see that students will get to choose 3 elective courses on those blank lines. If we talk about math for a minute, all 3 of those options that you see, pre-algebra, algebra 1, and geometry, are each 1 credit courses. So we do use a variety of factors in determining what the student's appropriate math placement is. And that does include their historical grades and how they've performed in school, performance on their standardized math tests or math assessments each year, as well as the algebra diagnostic test that we typically administer to students each year. This year, if your child is attending Pleasant Ridge School, Waldorf School, unfortunately, you're aware that we're not able to host visitors at this point. Usually that algebra diagnostic test is one of the things that we try to integrate into their visit day each year. And we will, obviously won't be able to do that this year as well. At this point, if things change later in the spring, we could possibly do that. Or, maybe even this, early, late summer, I should say, before school starts. But we'll really be looking at the recommendation that the 8th grade teacher at Pleasant Ridge provides for the appropriate math placement. So if we talk about the different options that are available, we do have a pre-algebra class, which is the standard the standard math class that students will start in as freshmen. We do have math classes that are both semester long and year long for each of those options. So it seems like there are a lot of choices when you're looking at that light green sheet in regards to math. So I just want to spend a couple of minutes talking about each of those options. So as you can see on the screen, Algebra 1 is a 1 credit course, as I mentioned earlier. The 505N is an 80-minute, 1 semester long class. The 505Y and the 506Y are Algebra 1A and 1B, and that is a 1 credit class as well. The exact same content as the Algebra 1 semester. The only difference with the Algebra 1A and 1B is that it moves at a little bit of a slower pace and is scheduled for one 80-minute class first semester and then the second 80-minute class second semester. So it gives students after the daily lesson a little bit more time to ask questions of the teacher, maybe get started on their homework, that kind of thing. The geometry has 2 options as well. The 515N is a block semester long class, and the 515Y is a 45-minute long class, 3A or 3B during the skinny block. And that's 1 credit as well. So, if you could just circle the appropriate math class for your child next year. Mrs. Schuld, the 8th grade math teacher at Viroqua Middle School, and Mr. Zuby, the Trillium teacher, will also be making math recommendations. So that will simplify the job for you as well. So one thing that I do want to mention is if your child is choosing Algebra 1A and 1B, since that is a block class first semester and then it also takes a slot for a block class second semester, then you do need to, they do need to write Algebra 1B on lines 6, 7, or 8 as one of their electives. As you can see down below, I do have the list of elective course options for freshmen, and I do encourage you to make sure that you're taking a look at the course description guide to make sure that the classes your child is choosing, that they'll be doing in those classes, what they're thinking they'll be doing in those classes. So as you can see over on the right-hand side, I do request some alternate courses. Sometimes the way that the schedule falls, it's just impossible to get certain combinations of courses to work in a student's schedule. So those are, I always tell students, kind of the backup courses in case their first choices just won't work in their schedule. One thing that I do want to say is, a lot of times, especially with that math class, I encourage students to think ahead because they do need 3 math credits to graduate. So, thinking about which class they're starting in as a freshman and then counting up 2 more classes because they will need to earn 3 math classes in their high school year. That's just important to do some good planning in regards to math, as well as the overall rigor of a student's courses that they're selecting each year. So if your child is currently enrolled in Viroqua Middle School or Trillium Middle School, the green sheet is really the only sheet that needs to be turned in, and their math teachers will be collecting them in math class. If your child is a virtual student, or if your child's attending Pleasant Ridge or a different school, you can email those to me. You can drop them off in the office, whichever is easier. And if your child is not currently attending as a student in the Viroqua Area School District, you would need to include the pink enrollment form that should have been also added to your packet if your child is currently attending Pleasant Ridge. It's within the Laurel High School application packet, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Either way, if you have questions or if your child has questions and they're in the building here, please encourage them to stop down at my office. I did include this in the packet, but I want to just talk through what a student's schedule might look like. Sometimes that's hard to visualize a little bit for students. So as you can see on the screen, the 3 electives this student chose were Ag and Plant Science, Choir, and Exploring Technology. One of the common questions I get frequently is during those 3A and 3B classes, what kind of classes are available? So every block, whether it's an 80-minute block class or the 45-minute skinny block, there is a mix of elective and required courses available each block. So this student you can see ended up taking choir and egg and plant were scheduled as their year-long classes, and then each of the other classes switched out when the semester turned. A second sample, you can see this student requested Algebra 1B, band and orchestra, and drawing. A lot of times the music selections are a little bit confusing, I guess, for students. Any music class that your child takes will be a year-long class in one of the skinny blocks, 3A or 3B. Band and orchestra happen to be scheduled in the same block. So if your child is choosing band and orchestra, they'll go to band 2 days a week this week, and 3 days of orchestra. And then the following week, it'd be 3 days of orchestra and 2 days of band. If your child is in just a single music class, you can see that they are each listed individually, band only, orchestra only, or choir only. And they would attend that class, choir, in this, or in the last example, each day all year long. And then you can also see on this sample schedule that Algebra 1A is an 80-minute block first semester and an 80-minute block second semester. I do want to remind you that the high school graduation requirements are not necessarily the same as what college admission requirements might be, depending on where the student is thinking about going to school. So a lot of times in particular, it will come down to, math requirements. Most four-year colleges require at least 3 credits of math, Algebra 1 and above. If a student is thinking about university, any of the Minnesota state schools, all Minnesota state schools require 4 credits of math, Algebra 1 and above. So in a second, I'll talk about that 4-year plan, but that's just one thing to keep in mind as you're helping your child plan for what their life might be after high school. So I always encourage students to complete the 4-year plan in pencil, because we all know things change as we go along and learn some things along the way. Each of the blank lines that are on that form are spots for the number of electives that student will get to choose that year. And obviously the math class will depend on what their starting point is. I do include that little worksheet area on the bottom, encouraging students to, just take a look and see what the admission requirements are at a college they think they might be interested in, just to get a starting point and a frame of reference as far as what courses might be expected of them. And as well, you want to keep in mind the rigor of the courses that your child is choosing. Obviously the required credits, including the math credits, and whatever other admission requirements that college might have as well. There are a few opportunities for students to earn college credits while they're in high school. The first is transcripted credits, and that is depending on the class. We do have a few classes here at Viroqua High School that students will take just as a regular high school class, and Western Technical College has transcripted them. So they have awarded college credit on their Western Technical College transcript, as long as they complete the high school class with a B letter grade or better. And that way, if they would go to Western Technical College and they need those courses that they've earned credit for, they would already have taken them. If they are not attending Western Technical College, they could send their Western transcript to whatever college they end up attending, and they may transfer that credit in. We do have 5 AP classes that we offer each year. So that's always an opportunity for students to potentially earn college credit. And then we have 2 programs, the Early College Credit Program and the Start College Now program, which allows high school juniors and seniors to take credits at the college level, at the colleges. So whether it's Western Technical College with the Start College Now program, or any other college or university, including the 4-year universities with the Early College Credit Program. So each year we have a handful of students who choose to earn college credit while they're in high school. And for each of those 2 programs, the school district does pay for the books and tuition for that course or courses, as long as it's not a course that we offer here in school. Then just a couple other things that I'd like to mention. One other way, it's kind of a specialized program that we have access to, is the Sleepy Hollow Automotive program. And one of the technicians at Sleepy Hollow is certified to teach a course each year through Western Technical College. It allows students to earn 3 college credits each year. And students are able to participate in this program their junior and senior year if they're interested. So each spring, I'll take students out to Sleepy Hollow and we will tour their facility. And if they're interested in, potentially being an auto tech or maybe a diesel and heavy equipment technician or something along those lines, maybe they just, would like to learn more about vehicle maintenance, this might be a nice option for them. So sometimes I feel like people aren't always aware of that. So I thought I would just make you aware of that. And then obviously, I always encourage students to take electives from a variety of areas because you just never know what is really going to pique your interest as a high school student. Just a few more things I thought I would share with you since I had a captive audience. We do have one academics excellence scholarship that we're able to, we have a number of scholarships each year that we award, but the academic excellence scholarship is awarded to the senior at the end of first semester of their senior year. So after 7 semesters, in the amount of $2,250 per year for up to 4 years. Students do need to attend a Wisconsin college or university, and then that does go to the student with the highest grade point average in their class. The Technical Excellence Scholarship is the companion to that, and in order to receive this, students must attend a Wisconsin Technical College. Again, the recipient is identified at the end of 7 semesters, so first semester of senior year. And it's awarded to the student who has taken and passed the greatest number of CTE courses, career and technical education courses, and who've also participated in clubs, CTE clubs and activities. So, and that scholarship as well is in the amount of $2,250 for up to 3 years. Laurel High School, if you aren't aware of that, is a charter high school that's located in our school district. And they're also holding a Zoom meeting tonight at 6. She assured me she would not start without my meeting ending. So, and that is really an ideal atmosphere, I think, for students who are self-motivated and maybe have some different ideas of types of classes that they would like to take that would be available to them outside of the traditional high school setting. It does allow for, Laurel High School does allow for students to take some classes at Viroqua High School if they choose to do so. So it does, provide a really nice option for other students in our district as well. It is, it does include a competitive application and an interview, and applications are due March 26th. If you're currently living outside of the Viroqua area school district, you would need to open enroll to attend one of our schools. And that date, open enrollment window is from February 1st through April 30th of this year. And that's an online quick application. Lastly, I do want to mention that we do have some academic assistance available each day for Monday through Thursday in a normal year. This year it's Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays for 1 hour after the school day ends. And this is really just an opportunity for students to get homework help from their teachers. So, and then I do always really, I honestly kind of push this with students because activities, I think, are one thing, although it's the last thing I'm really talking about tonight, it's something that I think is really important for students. It allows them to try something different, whether it's a sport or any of the activities that we have available for students. But there have been numerous studies that show that students who are involved in extracurricular activities do better in school and earn higher grade point averages, allows students to build self-confidence, relationships with students they might not have in their classes, and then also helps with time management skills as well. So that's really the information that I have. As you can see on that course request form, if that green form could be returned by February 5th to the math teacher, if they're a current Trillium or Viroqua Middle School student, or emailed or faxed even. I did not include the fax number here, but the fax number is 637-8034, if that's easier for anyone. But if you could return that, and if you're not a current student, the pink enrollment form, that would be much appreciated. So, like I said before, let me know if you have questions. I am just looking to see if I can see. There are some questions here. Let me see if I can answer those.
Say, Jenny, I've been following the chat. So unless you mentioned a direct message, I think I've caught up on answering all of them.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have a question for me? I know it's kind of fast and furious and lots of new information, but if nobody has any questions, like I said before, feel free to contact me, phone, email, whatever is easiest. And I appreciate your time tonight, and hopefully we will see you soon.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So if you're not enrolled in Viroqua Middle School or Trillium, when is the green form due?
If you can turn that in anytime. We'll take new students at any point. Having it due, once you make your decision, just makes it easier for us to do some planning with course numbers and things like that. But if you have made your decision, as soon as you could turn that in, that would be wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Are there more specifics about the electives and course descriptions? Yes, if you do have one of the packets, I did put a course description guide in that packet. And I also have that posted on my webpage. So if you go to the Viroqua High School webpage and search my name, you'll be able to find my webpage, and it's posted there. Just looking. That's really all the information I have. If anybody has questions, feel free to stay on. And if not, if you are interested in just learning more about Laurel High School, I would encourage you to join that Zoom meeting as well. So, All right, everyone.
I have a question about the college classes
Mhm.
or cadence. Sorry, I figured since I had you on here, I would ask. Would she just come talk to you about, because she wants to take an ASL class, and that's just been something she's wanted since 8th grade, and she'll be a junior next year.
Yes, yes, have her come and talk to me and I can give her all the forms.
Okay.
If she's looking at a first semester class next year, the paperwork deadline is March 1st. If she's thinking about a second semester class, it would be an October 1st deadline in the fall.
Okay, we haven't thought that far ahead, but I think either would be preferable to her because she just wants to get her ASL going.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay, thank
that's
you.
great. You're welcome. All right, with that, I am going to stop sharing my screen here and I will sign off, and please let me know if anybody has any other questions, and have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you.